Welcome to What's Your Story, where we, Jamie Marco,
And Stan Brown.
delve into the extraordinary lives of everyday people.
Listen in as we uncover the unique tales that shape who we are.
One story at a time.
Hey, let's get ready to explore today's story.
Let's do it. Dooby dooby doo. Didn't you used to have
You
us
don't have to,
like
you know, we're not doing a singer today. We're doing a comedian, aren't we?
we are, but didn't you used to like teach me like to scat, like skibbity scat,
Absolutely.
scat, scat. Oh, by
Oh,
the way, hi.
oh, hello.
And hello, listener. Welcome back to What's Your Story? I forget, we actually don't ever acknowledge it's like welcome back. Hello. Should we do that? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a long pause. That's all. It's just we were used to that before, and now we're back again.
I know, right? And by the way, do you like my cup I'm drinking out of? It's an Elsa cup today.
One of my favorite animated movies,
Mm.
Frozen.
For real?
Well, like Frozen daiquiris and Frozen the movie.
For real? Do you really like Frozen?
It was enjoyable, yeah. I used to enjoy it.
All right. So, anyways, we used to scat as a kid. Like you would have me skitty, scatty, scat,
I'd
whatever.
also like to jog with friends and scat as we jog. I think it's very creative. It's very improv.
So, tell me a little bit about how you scat.
I had an uncle that drove a bus, and he would just drive. He'd drive the long haul and go, "Papa do 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 ba za za ba ba do ze ya ba da ba ba boo do 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 ba 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 dee." Scatting as well as rhyming stuff.
I can't know what your face is doing.
I'm gonna
That's
get into
good.
it. Also,
Okay.
when you're running, go, "Hey, I think I'm running down the road. I'm going to meet some friends tonight." Oh, just make up stuff as you go along. It's very,
Okay. But so
you have to break the mold.
this uncle that you had, who was it?
Uncle Lou.
Okay.
My name was
Okay.
an uncle by marriage.
Okay. Do I know Uncle
No,
Lou?
you never met him. No, because
Okay.
I think he went to the Great Beyond before your time, before you came into the Great Beyond.
How was he your uncle?
He was married to my aunt Fan, and Fanny was actually she was also married to the guy that produced all those Hercules movies.
Really? How was Fan your aunt?
My father's sister. He had five sisters.
Really?
Yeah,
How did I not know that?
Fanny, Rosie, Lena, and somebody else.
Okay, so Fan was married to Lou. Lou was a bus driver. Fan's father was the producer of the Hercules
No,
movie.
no, Fan's first husband.
Oh,
Who
okay.
did it was what was this guy's name? He was a big producer, did almost all the Hercules movies. Then they got
Okay.
divorced
Oh.
because he got too big.
Oh, got to
Yes,
Herculean.
yes.
All right, so then Lou would drive what kind of bus?
I like a Greyhound bus.
Oh,
He
really?
do a long haul.
Oh, really?
And
And how do you know that he used to scat on the bus
as
though?
when he was home, he was scat. If you scat on the bus, you scat when you're not on the bus. You're just a scatter. Listen to
That's good.
you don't know if I tell about Louis Prima and Keely Smith, you wouldn't know them, would you?
I feel like I know those names,
Uh,
but I don't know how.
he did the first "Just a Gigolo" everywhere I
Yes,
go.
yes,
And
yes,
Louis
yes.
Prima was out of the 50s, is great. He scat a lot.
Really?
Louis Prima is worth looking up on YouTube. A couple of videos.
Do you think scatting is still around?
Uh, it's probably, maybe rap is a version of that, making stuff up as you go along, I suppose.
Okay.
Scat really wasn't really words; it was just the feeling and kind of notes and stuff. And scat is it's
Yeah.
good.
I feel like Adam Sandler scats a little bit when
Yeah.
he's like pretends to be someone like that. Oh, okay. Should we skit or scooch and let our guess
I
it?
think we should skedaddle.
Skedaddle. Let's let him in.
That's the past pluperfect of skidding.
Is it?
Scatting,
Is that
scatting,
the
scatting,
proper?
scatting, scatted, skedaddle.
Is that the proper way to do that? It's like the
I
whole.
don't know. It's proper. It's just like what you do.
Okay. I don't see
Yeah.
Anthony joining us yet. So Anthony, we can see that you're in the wings. There we are. Wait a second. There you
Trying to fix this
go.
lighting. The lighting looks like my eyes are. Are you guys getting like a reflection of my glasses?
No, but
You are?
hello.
How are you?
Well,
How are you
You guys are
doing?
the bearded men.
Yeah, it's really growing on me.
I literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and it's actually short right now, which is
Oh,
kind of
well,
crazy.
I got my dad for Father's Day this really cool mug that we debuted on a different episode, or I don't know if it's before year's episode, but look at this
Oh,
mug
nice.
for him, right? Isn't that cool? It's a
Does it
bearded
have like
man mug.
layers where you can keep adding to it as it grows?
God, I hope not.
Well, we are so, first of all, hi, friend. It's been
How's
like
it
a
going, man?
very long time since
I
I've seen
appreciate your
you.
patience. There was a lot going on the last time.
No, no worries, but it's been a long time. I haven't really explained to my dad how I know you, but I was trying to think back of how we first met, and I know it's something on the comedy scene, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out like
Yeah,
where
I think we did a show together downtown or something.
was it the show I did at Wrigley, my first stand-up?
Probably. Was it what was in Wrigley?
I don't know. So listener, I used to live in Chicago and I did a lot of stuff at Second City where I went through the whole conservatory there. And then I put my hand into some stand-up because my friend Paul Farvar, which I think you know
Yeah,
Paul,
Paul.
got me.
Oh, okay, Merkel's.
Yes, no, maybe at Merkel's. Was that when we met?
Yeah, we were probably the final three that got judged
Oh my gosh. And
based
that
on
was
like pick
like,
three.
I mean, 15 years ago?
Oh yeah, easily.
If not longer. I mean, so crazy. I did not stay down the path. And actually, funny enough, because I knew we were having this call together today, I have my set recorded and it's on my phone. And I watched it.
Still?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I am not good at stand up. Like it was bad. It was not good.
I
Um,
do that. I did that last night, but with a clip from like 2 years ago. So
oh,
it's for our own
Did you
worst.
ever see Howie Mandel's early years? He was terrible.
well, I gave up after that night, and now I just do stand up in my classes. But Anthony is actually very talented, and he has been on stages across the country and is incredible. And we'll talk about that. But that's what
Stages or stage coaches?
Both, both wherever they'll have me. Sometimes it's the Orange Line in Chicago.
it's so good to see you. I do follow you on social media, and I know that the last 10 years have been all over the place for you. And so
Yeah,
today, when we
yeah.
talk about your story, I'd love to, you guide us where you want to go. But we do start off our conversations with a question that I think is super powerful. So we're going to ask you this
I thought you were
question.
gonna say prayer. I was like, all right, I'm ready.
No, we're not going there.
That's the last question we ask you.
We may
Last one.
pray for you based on your story.
Yeah.
Like going on stage. Oh God, please.
Yeah, help him, help Anthony.
What is your number today? And what I mean by that is a scale of 1 to 10. One being a day where you probably should not have gotten out of bed and should not be peopling. Yes, I've made that a verb. I got that from someone I knew. To a 10 being it's the best day you've ever lived and you don't have a worry in the world. What is your number
And we're
today?
very aware that the common myth of professional comedians are that they're very depressed people. They don't want to
Yeah.
see nobody. It's not showtime yet. Okay, I'm
I
finished.
think there's a lot of comedians that they make that like their shtick that they're depressed. I
Mm,
think I'm like an OG depressed where I'm like depressed, but I don't talk about it or like flaunt it, you
okay.
know?
All
So I
right.
think like when I wake up, I'm like a 4 or a 5, and then I go through this like spiral where and then I'm like, all right, I got a really blessed life. I have these people in my life, I've got these things. And then I slowly talk my way up to like a 7. And I think that's usually my number. Depending on what happens, sometimes it goes up to a 10,
Hmm.
but it's never like a steady 10. And
Mhm.
I think comedy it can also be very damaging too for like your mental health because you'll go through so many like peaks and valleys and you got to like really learn how to navigate it. Otherwise, you'll get hit by the wave. And I think that's what it's like a very Zen approach. Like you have no control and you have to surrender to that you have no control. And I think the better that I remind myself that, the better I am mentally. But the moment you try to like, well, why am I not getting the book to that, do that, or why didn't this happen for me? And then you get into that like ego part of it, and then it's just a mess. So
This is a full-time gig for you, yes?
yes and no. I mean, I still do personal training to pay like my bills, but then I have comedy that kind of supplements the rest of it. But
Oh.
I'm not doing training like I used to. Like when I first moved to Chicago, I was doing like 40 to 60 hours a week of private personal training, and that was just like
Are
that
you like
was
developmental training or gym type training?
Jim.
gym trainer. Yeah, so that's kind of evolved too, like where I was doing just personal training, and then I got into corrective exercise, then I got into like became a corrective exercise specialist, and then I got into like you know, like rehab type work. And then I was working at Stretch Lab for a while. Then I became a stretch coach and yoga instructor. So you kind of like keep adding to your repertoire based on like,
When did you think you were funny?
uh, I'm one of 8 kids, and that's funny enough because that doesn't happen anymore. And 6 sisters, which is a lot.
A lot of material.
Yeah, I mean, it really was like it's like a blessing because you sometimes my sister will just like send me a text and we'll just start reminiscing about like all the crazy stuff that happened growing up. And I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. And we'll just like, she and I were like talking about like writing like a sitcom or something about um the stuff that's happened because there's so much. It's just so rich, with like
Yeah.
an abundance of material. Um, so I think just early on, it was kind of like, you either like became good at defending yourself or you just like got made fun of. It wasn't like mean or harsh,
Sure.
but it was the way that you stayed relevant, like kind of in the family, because there's so many people you could just get lost. So I
Yeah.
don't even remember what happened. I think just one day it was like a dinner or something, and there was like 20 of us. Everybody had their boyfriends and everything over, and um, my sister was like, Anthony, do that impression of, the time dad when he banged his knee into the car door. Do that. So then I did it, and then they started dying. And then I was like, well, here's mom when she was on the phone the other day. And I just started doing mom, and then and then it just turned into like like dinner nights became comedy nights. Like at the end of the night, like it would be like Anthony's gonna do his impressions, and sometimes I got like really mean, and I don't even know where this was coming from. As like an 8-year-old. Like I just remember my brother-in-law had glasses, and I was just like on a roll, like I was killing one night, and I was like 8 years old, and they're like, "Do George," and I was like, "Hi, I'm George," and it was so mean, and I'm like, and everybody, including my sister, just died, and he just looked at me like, what does this kid think of me? And
That's
that was it. Like it just became like a weekly or nightly ritual, like whenever we would have like a large family gathering, or like even if we just like were together for like a smaller gathering, like do that impression of,
Did you work
you
for
know,
scale at least?
did I what?
Did you work for scale?
Yeah, I got paid in lasagna, so it all worked out.
Are you the
Um,
youngest of all of them?
no, I'm second to youngest, so I have a younger sister. She's only like 2 or 3 years younger than me.
But it sounds like your older siblings are significantly older than you if you had a brother-in-law at the age of 8.
Yeah, yeah, like well, he was dating her, but he's now been
Oh.
my brother for so
Oh,
long.
got it. Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah, it is a pretty big gap um between like the oldest and myself. Like, I think my oldest sister was like moved out of the house by the time I was like getting Nintendo. So it was
Wow.
like, you know, it's
Yeah.
definitely like a big gap. But it's weird though, because like the same thing with my other sister who I'm actually really close with. She was like moving out like within like 2 or 3 years. But we all like stayed in touch. It wasn't like they moved out and then, we just never
Yeah.
heard from each other. And
So
then we went,
Italian family, right? Italian family.
yeah, yeah, very
And are you
Italian.
from, are you from New York? Or am
Well, I
I,
was born in New York. We lived in New York for a little while, and then my parents moved to New Jersey when I
okay,
was like one or two, and then we just basically stayed there the rest of
got
the
it.
time, and then I moved
As they say, what exit on the Garden State Parkway?
163.
See that?
Wow.
Huh?
It's it's crazy because like sometimes people are like, "Oh, are you from Jersey? We're in Jersey," and I'm like 163. Where are you? And they're like, "Oh, like we're like I'm not really off the Parkway. I'm off the," and they give me like some route, and I'm like, "Oh, you're from like Central Jersey," and they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Okay, so you're not really." Like it's so like weird because like you have like New Yorkers that are like, you know, what borough or where, where in Brooklyn are you from? And then they're like, oh, we hate the bridge and tunnel kids, like the Jersey kids, which is like us who come in from the tunnel. And then, but yet, like a lot of the people that are in New York who are like just rude are from Iowa. So it's like you're not really from New York. You're just a transient, just like everybody else. And then, and then you have the New Jersey people that are like, "Oh, I'm from Jersey. We're in Jersey," or like, "I'm from New York." I'm like, "Where?" And they're like, "The Catskills." I'm like, "Okay." Like, and then we do a lot of this. Like, "Oh, okay,"
That's like Chicago. People are like, I'm from Chicago. Like, where? Sean?
Right,
No, no, you're not.
right,
No, nope,
right.
that's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. But it's so weird because like Jersey's like, like I think whenever because I was so close to New York City that when somebody comes up to me out here and they're like, "Oh, I'm from New Jersey too," like, and I'm like, and then they give me that like random farm town that I've never heard of. I'm like, "Oh, you're actually like closer to Philadelphia." Like, so that happened at a show. I was just like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh, okay, good night." Like, and I just was, it's like we don't have anything to talk about. It's not like what I'm gonna mention or landmarks.
How much of your childhood do you use in your sets?
I haven't used a ton. Although I did do this like mini special where it just came out, and I was talking about a bunch of crazy things that happened when I was younger, and I was like, and some of it went over really well, and I think some people were like, "This sounds like you should be telling your therapist." But the people that were laughing were like dying, and I'm like, "That's see, like if I'm okay talking about it, like that's funny." Like it's a stupid example, like but like growing up, there's so many of us that I guess in today's world, this would never fly, where it was like, and they would say like, "Oh, you were misbehaving. That's why we made this up." But it was like, but I wasn't misbehaving. This was like before anybody knew what ADHD was or ADD. So I would just be crawling under the table, like, and like I was,
Yeah.
I was restless,
Yeah.
and so that like was too much for them to be like under the table. But I wasn't like screaming. I wasn't making a scene. I was just like under the table, and they would tell me to knock it off or that Butch was going to come out of the kitchen to get me. Butch was a fictitious character that they made up that worked in every kitchen that did not like children. We don't know what he did to children, but it was not good.
Boogeyman, a boogeyman. Jeez.
So they'd always be like, "You better knock it off, or Butch is coming to get you." And I would always be like, "Who's Butch?" Like, and it was like the silent, like it was like muted out of it, and I would just freeze. It's terrible to tell a kid. And then like, couple whatever, like I got older and we went out to eat, and they tried to use it. I was like, "Oh, Butch is gonna get you," and I was like, "Okay, Butch is fake. We all know you guys."
Yeah, but there was a time when they said Butch, you envisioned
Oh yeah,
a physical being.
right. And I did. I had like a character in my head.
Yeah.
He reminded me of the chef in the old "You Can't Do That on Television" guy, the guy Barth that was like
Oh
die
yeah.
with his white hat on. So my nephew was acting up in the restaurant, and he was really young. And I'm like, "Hey," I'm like, "You better knock it off, or Butch is gonna get you." And everybody chastised me at the table. They're like, "Hey, don't tell him that. You're gonna screw up in the head." And I was like, "Oh, I got $100 in worth of therapy bills I'm paying because you do that for 20 years, and now I do it once to the millennial, and now it's like, oh, let's protect him." So,
That's
Butch is a funny story, but I think people were a little bit like, "This sounds alarming." I think it's funny.
oh my God, that's funny.
It's it's age sensitive. It gets to the point they believe it, then all of a sudden they don't believe there's a Butch.
Right,
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like that too
they care about
therapy.
mental health in the new generation, but not the OGs. They're like, the Generation X has been through enough. They can handle a little more lies about a man that kills children. Let him throw it on his throw it on his ballot.
Yeah.
But not the millennials. They got enough to worry about. So.
So you're 8, you're performing for your family, and then do you lean into that as you get older and go to school and like do any kind of like drama club or any kind of acting or what? How does it like take its course with you?
It was kind of weird because I didn't really do anything with it, and then I went to college, and I was not sure what I wanted to do, and I kept going through like different classes to figure out what majors I was going to do, and then eventually I just got into writing because I was like, well, that's the closest thing I can think to do is to do writing, and then I did that, and then I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that drilling above me.
No, Zoom's
um,
pretty good at canceling stuff out.
um, so then I think, oh, so after college, I
But he's
basically
gonna get you. Be careful. He hears you. Which is
Butch
coming with the drill.
comes to the ceiling. He's like, "I'm still here." Don't you talk about you said Butch three times in front of a Zoom camera. That's when I come out. It's like Candyman. Um, so I went to college, and after I graduated college in New Jersey, I did not, but not 163. It was like 63, so it was like by the shore, and I didn't know what to do, and then I was like I wasn't like emo, but I was just like I'm not just going into the work world. Like I just can't just go like 4 years to school and then jump into a job. So I was looking at all my options, and then there was this table out at like outside in the hallway where they were doing different like volunteer programs, and one of them was like AmeriCorps, Jesuit Volunteer Corps, and so I was like talking to the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, and I was like, "What's the difference?" And it's basically like it's just more of like a spiritual component, like you can like really kind of like put your faith into action with like social justice work and helping marginalized. So I was like, all right, well that sounds like aligned with something I could be into. So then we started going through the books, and he's like, you'd have to pick where you would want to go. And I was just like, I want to go as far off the map as possible. And he's like, we'd have to commit to 2 years. And I didn't want to do 2 year program to like a different country. So I was like, what's the farthest I can go abroad? Not abroad, but domestic. And then so we opened the book, and I saw Alaska, and I was like, I want to go to Alaska.
Hmm.
So then it just became like this like long interview process. And long story short, I eventually accepted a position in Sitka, Alaska.
Wow.
But
Talk about
we had to do
serendipity, my God.
yeah, so it was the orientation. What was that orientation? They had like a talent show, and I kept making people laugh like throughout the orientation. They're like, "You should go to the talent show," and I was like terrified because I'd never been on stage. And I think I eventually like went up with somebody and we did a couple funny songs on guitar, but I did not feel comfortable at all. But then the year that I was living in Alaska, I ended up doing a play on Alaska Day, and I played Bill Filbert, the starstruck farmhand, and I was just like this kind of like flamboyant country boy, and it was like killing. Like everybody, like I was just like this weird. I'll send you pictures.
Yes,
I've got all
please
this
do.
makeup
We're gonna
on.
post those.
I have all this makeup on, and I'm like smiling. Um, so then I didn't really do anything and then either. I mean, I think I had read like some poems that I wrote at like a talent show there. And then I moved, and it wasn't until I moved like a couple times and ended up in Virginia that I did like an amateur stand-up night. And I don't even remember a lot of it. It was probably like what you remember about like Merkel's, like it was like a blur.
Yeah,
It was never recorded. Nobody was recording things back then.
thank
And
God.
I think I passed out when I got home for like 3 days because I was so much adrenaline.
It
And
is.
then I didn't do it again for years, but I did like improv a couple, and then I moved here and I was doing all improv. And then I just kind of randomly signed up for like a one of those like Rising Star showcases at Zanies.
Yeah.
And I got booked, and like all these comedians are mad because they're like, "Who are you? We've been trying to get into that showcase for 20 years." And I was like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I did really well, but I did do like seven of them, and it was like over the course of like 5 years before I finally started getting like regular work at Zanies. And then you just sort of just keep rolling, like stuff happens, stuff doesn't happen, you know, and then all of a sudden you're like working and you have a career. But it's very odd. It's like a very odd career because there's so many moments you're like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Like, and then like you'll get like this big bone that gets thrown at you. You're like, oh my God, that's like a really cool thing. And then that kind of motivates you. And then you'll do nothing for like a while. I always joke, like, I was like, Chicago humbles you because like I'll walk into like an open mic sometimes and somebody's like, we have like like a local legend coming in that he's gonna just work on some stuff and they'll put me up right away. And then I'll go to like a different mic that they don't where no one like knows me, or if it's like a totally different hipster part of town. He's like, yeah, we can get you up at like number 75. And I'm like 70. It'll be 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll be performing for nobody at that point. So it just keeps you humble. Like you'll
Uh,
get some cool stuff, then you'll get nothing, and then you'll get cool stuff, and then you get. And right now I'm in this like weird space because it's summer where it's been like super slow. So you're like in your head, like
Hmm.
what am I doing? Like, am I gonna get anything? And then all of a sudden people start emailing you, and then you come out of it. So it's like I said earlier about like that like wave example. It's like you got to just kind of just hang on the board and
yeah.
try to control it because once you start trying to do that, you'll drive yourself crazy.
It's really hard, but what I anticipate you must do a fair amount of traveling, I suppose.
I haven't been lately. I do a lot of stuff like mostly around the Midwest. I've done some stuff in LA and New York. But it's gotten harder and harder too with like the rise of TikTok because like now clubs are really focused on like your social media numbers.
Hmm.
And so like if you don't have like, 1 million followers that can like they all kind of capitalize. I mean, I get it, it's a business. I have a very mixed opinion about it. It's like I get it, it's a business, but it's also really not stand-up comedy too.
Yeah.
If you're doing videos online and then you're plugging that person into a stand-up comedy club, it should be like a different club for that or a different night
Yeah.
for that. But unfortunately, they just want to sell sell tickets and make money and so comedy club bookers and owners have sort of like lack of a better word, sold out in a way too, because it's like they're just trying to sell the tickets and they don't really care about like the quality of the product that they're putting
Become
on
an
stage.
industry.
Yeah. So it's crazy because then like I'm sitting in the lobby and people are coming up to me and like, why were you not the headliner? Why are you were so much funnier? And it's like a negative comment that you don't really like. It's not like
Yeah.
compliment, and you're like, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, and I'm just like standing there awkwardly, like, okay, thank you. Like, you don't know what to do. I
Yeah.
can't be able to tell the owner, it's like, so I try not to like get too wrapped up in it and just, you just keep plugging and just keep doing the best you can. And that's the other thing is like trying to just control what you can control. Like I know I can control who I can reach out to, videos I can post, clips I can cut, shows I can attend or open mics to work on stuff. And that's
Yeah.
all I can do, so everything else is just, you just sort of have to like let go. And because then stuff happens where you're just like, oh, there's nothing I could have done that would have got me that,
Yeah.
you know, a
An
couple of years ago.
unusual lifestyle, to say
Yeah.
the least.
Well, and you've had like, I think, just by being connected over social media and seeing, you've had kind of like, I'd say maybe over the last 10 years, a lot of ups and downs in your personal life as well, too. You were really sick recently, and then
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
father
That was
passed away about, was it how many years?
2015. And then my mom passed away last year.
Oh, jeez.
And I sound like there's a black cloud following me when you talk about it like that. I start thinking about it, I'm like, oh my God, maybe
I don't
I'm
mean to do
imagining
that. Don't mean to do that.
it.
No.
Look
Maybe I'm
behind
haunted.
you.
It's Butch. He's
Butch.
haunting me. No, it is. It's a lot. And that's what I think is like actually very like interesting is like we were watching like these videos the other day where it's like a baseball player who's like in the minor leagues and they, I don't know if you've seen them, it's like these like hidden cameras and the coach calls him in and he thinks he's getting cut
Oh,
and he's like I just want to be the first person to let you know you're going to the big leagues. And he starts like crying and he calls his parents and it's like this heart tug of a video. And I was like, how come nobody ever does that for comedians? We just get heckled. It's like you sat through 400 open mics. You did this terrible show in Indiana where you got attacked, and you're going to the big leagues. You're getting a Netflix special. Like no one even thinks that.
yeah.
They're just like the first person to yell out or heckle. But like they don't know the stuff that is going on, kind of on the exterior, like in your personal life, that like they think that we're just
Monkeys.
juggling all day and like, like, hey, oh, it's time to go to work. Like we're still people.
Yeah.
And, that's why I had a joke. I wrote a joke on Threads the other day, and some guy wrote, not funny, so I wrote a joke about like 2 days later. I was like, comedy's the best because you'll write a joke and then a guy who lives in his mom's basement will deconstruct your joke and tell you why it's not funny. It's like you literally have like
Yeah.
I don't know why they think that like their opinion has somehow like permeated my being. I'm like, oh,
But that's
rip.
life today, right? Like people like the
Yeah,
keyboard
yeah.
warriors and people that have these different opinions. I mean, I always think it's interesting. So you mentioned being heckled. Like, what is the worst heckle you got in a show that you can remember? And like, what are they
Oh,
heckling you
yeah.
about?
Not really even a heckle. It was like a fight that broke. It was like a Indiana show. It was
Oh,
at
it's
a comedy.
Indiana. Just kidding. Just kidding. We got
Yeah.
Indiana listeners.
No, don't kid. Don't kid. I hate Indiana after this. Especially the Pacers. Sorry, guys. Knicks fan. And so it was a show, and I just kept being like, "Can you guys keep it down?" And then I was very, very polite. It wasn't like we got into it, you know. And I was like, "Why don't you guys just go? Like, there's a bar outside. Just go." And they just looked at me like I had just like insulted like the prime minister. And they're like, they were like, and I was like, "Why are they looking at me like that?" Actually do a joke about this because then I go out to the lobby and I see the woman like vehemently like yelling at the manager of the club. And she's like, I do not want him getting paid. He was disrespectful. And she's like pointing at the lady, like yelling at her. And then she waits till the woman like turns around. And then she goes, my son was in a car accident. And that's why we kept talking. And she like waits till she's not looking. And then she comes at me and like tries to headbutt me. And I just like swoop out of the way. And I was like, are you crazy? I'm like, what are you doing? So I kind of like flipped her off, but like pretend like I was scratching my neck when I was doing it.
You could have done like the whole like Italian one, right? Like the
Yeah, it was like on my back of my neck. And then I just feel like a hand hit me on the back and he turns me around and it was the husband. He's like, did you just flip off my wife? And in my head, I'm like, all right, like this is already bad. I may as well just go Jersey. So I was like, yeah. I'm like, because you didn't shut up. And I'm like, and you didn't shut up, and you're awful people. And then all of a sudden I hear, let me at him. And some guy that was also part of their crew comes out of nowhere and just like swings. And I just instinct just kicks in. And I just like, I'm like bobbing and weaving. I think I swung back. I don't, it was such like a black like blackout moment, but nobody hit me. And then you just hear like, all right, break it up, break it up, break it up. And the owner comes out and he's like, I think it would be your best interest to leave. And I was like, but I didn't get the steak dinner and that was part of my pay. I'm starving. He's like, you need to leave.
I'll
So I
just give
paid.
you the steak.
Yeah. So I drove back to Chicago like
Jeez.
3 hours with no food in me, and I was just cursing Indiana the whole time. So I wrote a song about it in one of my sets where during like but I sang it in the version of the Litany of the Saints of the Catholic Church, like pray for us. You know, they're like Saint Gertrude, but I was like telling the whole story, like the time I did a show in rural Indiana, and I was like, white couple wouldn't stop talking, and the whole thing ends with me not getting the steak dinner and never wanting to go back to Indiana again.
Did they ever find you after that, or they just dropped it?
No, but it was hilarious because I went online the next day and somebody wrote the worst Yelp review about me and said that I was racist. But I'm like, there was only white people in the room. So I'm like, what are you talking? They were just trying to like get me canceled. And I'm like,
Uh,
it didn't. But
People are crazy. I can't even. Who would you say is like your biggest inspiration when it comes to comedy?
like comedian wise,
Yeah, or like anything.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my dad was very funny. And I think that's why it was easy. Both my parents were like funny, but like weirdos. So it was very easy. But I like a variety of comics, but I don't know that like any specific comic. I respect a lot of comedians and I like a lot of comedians, but I don't think I like go to them to like be inspired to do comedy. But I mean, I do like Bill Burr a lot.
Slightly
Sam,
abrasive.
Sam Morril, like just like that because they're kind of complete opposites of in some ways of me, but like we share the same viewpoints, but I think I'm maybe a little less curmudgeon-y. Is that the right word about it? You know,
Easier
so
to
sometimes
spell.
I,
I
Easier
said,
to say than to
yeah,
spell.
curmudgeon's a tough one for the spelling bee contest.
yeah, yeah,
Curmudgeon.
yeah. So it's just sometimes it's just nice to like see somebody that's like so different, and like Sam can get kind of dark too. And watching their reactions of like a really dark joke that sometimes doesn't
You ever
always
feel like
go.
screaming like Sam Kinison?
No, never.
It's interesting because you did sort of dive into it by saying that a lot of comedians or comedic actors do struggle with depression. And you mentioned in the beginning that you've got that and you don't use it as like a showboat kind of thing, but like you have that. What do you think that is? Like, why do you think, like, we see it with Mike Myers, you saw it with, obviously, with Robin Williams, you saw it. I mean, like, there's so many different famous names we can speak of that struggled,
Well,
silently.
comedy usually comes out of pain.
Okay.
It evolves from pain in most cases.
Anthony, what are your
So,
thoughts?
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's
the
a
real
weird.
comedian.
you just heard it from the real comedian. So I'll say it again. Comedy comes out of hardship.
It's a weird mix, I think, because like I had a joke that I wrote the other day. I was like, "Am I depressed or is everybody just depressing?" It's kind of like this weird thing. Like everybody's down, everybody's talking about the end of the world, everybody's talking about the news and politics, and so I think like environmentally, I'm super affected by like the external environment. So I think sometimes like all of that, um, but I also think like when you look at like a cumulative level of like all the personal stuff that's happened with like I'm in my 40s and I've lost both my parents and my brother is currently uh he was a Marine and he got diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which was from the Camp Lejeune water. So all those things you see on the news about like contact an attorney. So, he's got a very deadly form of cancer. My sister just got diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's like you have all these like things that just keep whacking you in the head and like you think you're like just finally like getting over something and then something else gets added to that pile and then when you take on all the stuff that's like kind of going on in the world and everybody is down. So I don't know that I'm like organically depressed. I think I'm just really affected by sometimes there's like a feeling of hopelessness in the world. But I think by balancing that with comedy and fitness, with my own workouts, I think that's how I sort of stay sane. Like I don't know how I would be or where I would be if I didn't have like my health and fitness as part like such a big part of my life. It's how I regulate. I keep my mental health in check. I keep my feel good about myself and my situation. But like that's why like I think so many people are depressed. It's probably because they're probably just sitting behind a computer all day arguing with strangers on the internet about politics or whatever that that's not healthy either, to be
How did
doing that.
how did the fitness piece of your life come to fruition? Like, if you're in Alaska, you're in Sitco, you're doing these
Yeah.
things. So how did you like navigate towards doing the fitness and as well?
So I was working in like a mental health clinic. So I was like working with uh, like children with like severe like behavioral disorders and various mental health, mental disorders. And then I moved into the adult program, and that was my more of like a case manager role. And then I left. So I left Alaska, and then I came back, and then I ended up moving to Seattle, and then the first job and the only job that popped up was a very similar role, and that was a very dangerous job. So it was a locked facility for basically kids that couldn't go to jail because they were too young. So it was just managed chaos. They were like, "Don't try to help these kids. Don't try to fix these kids. You're
Oh,
not here to be a friend. You're just here to control the chaos and make sure they don't kill each other."
Yes.
So I was like,
wow.
okay, that was not in the job description, but okay, and
Fine print, fine print.
yeah, and it was a
Die.
lot. It was a lot of dangerous stuff happened, and I had to like that's like really learn how to like kind of like position myself to have them not fear you, but not test you. So like that took a while. I'm not tall, and some of these kids were huge. So like once like you got into like a physical situation with them, and you were able to like take them down or move them to their rooms or whatever, and they all would like be in the hallway like watching, and they would see you doing that, they'd be like, "Don't mess with him. Like he'll take you down. He's strong."
Anthony,
So
a
like they were.
question. Was there any sense of, it's not funny, but I'm serious. Was there any sense of humor in that dormitory among the patients?
Was there what?
Any sense of humor they had?
Oh yeah. Like when you could like distract them, I could always make the kids laugh, but it was like I mean it was kind of like Lord of the Flies at some points, like I remember I was like locked because you get locked in the hallway with these kids and sometimes it's scary, but I was just like, um, and so then you would like look out the window and you'd see the other hallway where the girls were living. And there was this new staff member, and she was so nice. I think she was from the Midwest, and she was so sweet. She's like, "I'm gonna help these children," and in my head, I'm like, "You're gonna get killed. Like this is just not gonna." And I remember just looking at her, and she's just like walking down the hallway, smiling, and I'm like, like, look. And this girl who like hated new staff was coming up from behind her. And I go, "Look behind you." And she turned around and she just knocked her out.
Oh
And
my
then she left
God.
that night. We never saw her again. And people got their legs broken. I think I got my pen stabbed through my hand. I got a concussion. But there were certain kids I didn't mess with, and because I just was like, it's not worth getting. They're too strong. Like there's six people on this kid. Like there's nothing I'm gonna be able to do. But there were certain kids that you could, so you built up a respect. Anyway, the point of that, to answer your question, was I was noticing that the incidences were going up after lunch, and that was when they were eating sugar foods and like candy and cake and stuff with their lunches. So I said, "Can we just switch it out to fruit, and we'll do like an activity outside afterwards?" So we switched it to fruit, and they were not happy about it. But then we took them outside and we had them running around, and I noticed that the incidences were dropping. And that's when I started kind of putting the two and two together, like that what we eat is direct correlation with how we feel, and how we move is also a direct correlation with our mental health and how we feel as well. And that was like kind of that like aha moment where like, at the right point, I had just met a trainer, and him and I started working on like a program together, and then I got really into fitness. And then my own workouts and how I was feeling, and I was up to 200 pounds at one point in this frame. It's not good. So I ended up getting my first job. I think it was at a Gold's Gym. So I was doing like membership sales. And then that just sort of like, that actually prepped me to be able to like get into training, because you don't want to be like a car salesman with training, but you want to have some semblance of like getting
Mhm.
people to see the value behind what you're doing. So then I just ended up getting a training job. And then um, that, that was the rest was history after that. I just kind of stuck with it. Much like comedy, you just sort of stick with it. Neither one of these are easy careers either, because they're so feast or famine, up and down, no
Yeah.
stability. You'll have very highs and lows. So
I'm just wondering, historically, like guys like Milton Berle for years would keep all of his jokes on index cards, and you can put
Mhm.
like category combination stuff in boxes and boxes. I'm wondering because the human mind can only you try to remember something and you forgot it, what the punchline, whatever it was. But today with AI, you can bring actually an AI dummy on stage with you, and he's programmed with every joke that's ever been told. That's a new gig
no,
for you, man.
no way.
You don't
Is that real?
you don't even need ventrilocle. Just have him sit on your lap
AI
and do all the
dummy?
talking.
Start getting called a joke thief because he's my AI dummy is.
Wasn't you. Wasn't you. What's the old joke about? I'm not going to tell you the joke. I'm going to tell you I've numbered the punchlines. You want to hear number 36?
That's what I do think is cool about stand up is that like I feel like it can't be replaced by AI because like no one's gonna want to listen to like a robot tell jokes or like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Or like
coming, brother.
watch.
It's coming.
Think so. I don't think that, listen, like I have leaned into AI for stuff to help me be more productive in certain things, but I don't think it never takes the human element, like this human stories. Like I would never like it can give you some ideas of how to build some content if you want to, but it doesn't replace that real authentic human piece to it and the emotion in it, right? AI has zero emotion. And I feel like even with you telling us that story earlier about Butch, not to bring it back and to make you go through PTSD, um, but there's emotion there that would never come from a story somewhere else. I think that you're like you said, it's the authenticity of the stories that you're telling, and they're yours. And you mentioned being a joke thief. Like there's as a speaker, there it's so interesting. We always talk about how there's speakers that steal stories from other speakers, and it's like, why would you do that? Like,
Really?
yeah, all the time. There's stories that are retold and all these different things. You're like, is that your story? Because I've heard it from so and so and this person and that person. And it's just like, just be authentic and be yourself and tell the story that's true to you. So yeah.
That's so weird. It's like a white guy being like, my childhood in Tanzania was very difficult.
I mean, that would be a little crazy,
That's
but
a
no.
story.
But like you do hear it and you're like, you don't even have a kid. How are you telling that story? Like you don't even have kids. Like you can't tell that story. You know?
Right. Exactly.
But like
My little one.
what's your
It's
deal?
performance art.
I know. I mean, I think that there is definitely an element to you're on stage, you're performing, and you're still performing. And I'm going to ask you this question. Do you still get nervous before going on stage?
Of course.
I didn't ask
You
you.
have,
He's going to say,
you
of
have,
course.
you have to have something. Mine now is not really so much nerves, but like worry that I'm not going to remember something that I wanted to work on. So I try to set
AI.
like a
See that?
like I
Sorry.
try to set like a goal before each time I go up. So like if I, you know, have this like tag. So for like 3 months, I kept adding this new tag to this one joke, and I kept forgetting it. I'm like, what is it? So I'm like in my notebook, I would like put it in bold to remember to like try that new tag. And then so I'd get so mad that like I'm like, how am I not remembering? Because it's like a different world once you step on stage.
Yeah.
You're not like thinking, photographically of your notes. So I get a little bit of like nerves, but I just want to like get up. I hate the waiting and then the
Yeah.
hosting. I just want to walk in and go right up because it's like I'm ready to go when I get there. And a lot of it's just like you got to sit through 10 comics and you got to sit through the host
It's
is doing
horrible.
20 minutes. I'm ready to when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go up and just do it.
Yeah.
So
It's the hardest thing.
it's a little bit of nerves, but it's a lot of like I want to make sure that I don't forget. I feel like the more reps I do, just like with exercise, the more reps I do,
Yeah.
the better my memory gets.
Well, that's
And
with
that's why
everything, right? Yeah. That's practice.
that's what gets frustrating because like say I like right now, the last couple weeks have been very slow, right? So I'm doing a lot of like mics to like keep the muscle moving. But then like say in 3 days I get booked to like headline two shows for 45 minutes, then you're like, oh God. And that muscle's not sharp. It does get sharp. When you have a longer set, it gets way easier than doing a 10 or a 20-minute set because you're just like, oh, I forgot that joke. And then you can kind of go back to it.
Mhm.
But if you're trying to bunch of new stuff, you want to get those reps in. So that's where it becomes frustrating being in the level where I'm at, where it's like I'm not here, but I'm not here, and I'm not here. I'm sort of like on the cusp type situation.
Yeah.
Um, That's what gets frustrating is like you'll get like these very sporadic bookings, and all of a sudden you'll get like 20, and you're like, oh man, I really wish that I had had more stage time to prepare, but you're doing everything you can to get it, you know. I'm also very like methodical with and sort of obsessive with how I prepare too. I don't think a lot of people prepare in the same way. I think some people just kind of wing it and that works for them. I'm not like that. Like I
We
want
see
to,
you doing a set on YouTube at all. Is there a video out there of you?
Yeah.
yeah, my special's on there. So I shot a special in Chicago at Zany's in 2022. I also did a dry bar. That was when I was like on a good run. I had the Zany's special, and then I did a special for dry bar comedy, which is like a clean set. And then OnlyFans has like a new comedy division called LMAOF, like laughing my ass off comedy. So they were doing these like mini specials in Chicago. So I had three come out all within like a 2 year period.
Do you sell
But
yourself with that
they're
or
all
something?
online. But the YouTube one, it's on Tubi and YouTube, and that's like mine. So like I self-produced that. But that was just kind of a culmination of like I wanted to so it's called North Side South Side. So I wanted to do because that was the only there was a comedy club in Chicago called Jokes and Notes. It was the only black comedy club in all of Chicago. And then no or very few white comics would go there. And I was going all the time because you became the diversity. So like you would get booked on showcases, you would meet other comics that were like, we would love to have you on our show. And I made a lot of friends. Some of my closest friends in comedy now are the comics that I met going to Jokes and Notes. So I have like two different personas really of like this like South Side Anthony that can perform in front of all black audiences, and then North Side Anthony that's like Zany's, Laugh Factory, wherever. So I just combined the two and made it like one set was all jokes that I'd worked on over 12, 13 years plus on the north side. And then the second half of the show was all jokes that I worked on only on the south side. All set at Zany's with a semi-mixed crowd, not as more white people than I wanted a more of a blend of people, but it's actually quite hilarious because the front row is my two friends who are white, my two friends and her mom who are black, and then like my Latino friend. And it's watching all of their reactions throughout the whole show. And sometimes like I'll tell like a joke from like the like on the south side, and like all the white people are like looking over for approval to laugh, and then sometimes both of them are like slightly like, "Oh God!" Like, and it's just such a funny. Like, if people don't read the synopsis about like what the show concept is, it's
Yeah.
way funnier when you do, versus like just
Yeah.
watching like a joke on that you see as a clip somewhere. So it was a lot of fun, and I was really proud of it because it kind of blew up. Like it didn't go obviously blow up in the way that I wanted to, but it did better than I ever thought it would. And I like one of the clips went viral, and like a lot of celebrities were like sharing it. And then I thought I got punked because about like 6 months into it, I was at work and I have this private message says, this woman is trying to send you a private message. And I thought I was just getting punked, or like it was spam. And she's like, "Hi, just reaching out. I'm Michael Shays from Saturday Night Live's manager. We'd love to have you open for him at the Riviera Theater."
Whoa.
She's like, "Please contact me at your earliest convenience at the below email." So I send the email thinking I'm still being punked, and then she writes right back, and it says like offices of Saturday Night Live, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is real." So I have now have like 24 hours to prepare for this set, which is the next night. So it's like situations like that where I had no shows like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'd done like one open mic, and all of a sudden I have like 24 hours to like go prepare to open for Michael
Did you do
Shea.
it?
Yeah, I did it. It was great. And
So
it was a lot of fun. They were definitely tight because there was no host. So it was like just cold, like me opening the show and then trying to jump into a
cool.
set. Um,
Do
and
I
then
remember correctly that did you audition for Saturday Night Live?
no, I did no. Yeah, no. I think I submitted like a packet, like a writing packet during COVID. They had like an open casting, but
Yeah, I feel
that's what
like
I actually asked him because I said, "Do you guys read the packets?" Because somebody told me you guys don't read the packets, and he goes, "We read all the packets." And I was like, "Oh,"
oh,
like okay. So at least I know that it wasn't like not just a waste.
is that a pipe dream of yours to be on SNL?
Uh, I would like to see some people complain. They're like, I would never want to be a writer. I think I'd prefer to be a writer first.
Okay.
Like it's just a good way to get your feet wet. There's no
Yeah.
pressure.
A lot of them did start that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather do it that way. And then sort of like maybe do like a couple of like pop-ins. I think it's so much pressure to be the new guy and have to come in and be amazing and like rule the
Yeah.
whole world, you know?
Well, a lot of
Um,
Chicago comics have made it, made that venture and headed from, Second City all the way over to SNL.
right.
Did that. I mean, Chicago's obviously so famous for so many incredible, talented people and comics. And listen, it's hard. I have such admiration for you because I know what I've done. I've done one set, maybe two. I think I've done only one set. I don't remember the other one if I did it. But being there, like you literally, the focus is on you. And I kind of feel that when I do keynotes now and that, but it's a little bit different delivery. But it's a lot of pressure to make people laugh and not offend people today, right? Like, how much has your comedy had to change because of the sensitivities that we have in today's world?
I don't really change it.
Okay.
Like I just try to like come from the perspective of like which I think a lot of comics make the mistake of doing. They like there's like this whole like movement now of comics that are like, let me say the offensive thing to get
Like
people
blue, like going blue, or like just mean that's offensive.
offensive. But it's like, but there's it's like offensive, but there's no joke attached to it. It's to like sort of like pander to the crowd of people that are tired of feeling like they have to watch what they say and being censored.
Mm,
So there's like a movement of comics that'll just say like a racist trope, but there's no like joke attached to it.
mm,
So I think that's created audiences to be on like such high alert that like whatever you're about to say is going to be super offensive because most people are not successful at writing a joke about a marginalized community. And I think that's where my special was where it succeeded was it could talk about black people or the black community and in a way that didn't alienate, wasn't racist tropes, but like actually spoke of the culture and maybe highlighted or poked fun at something of the culture that a lot of white people may not know. So that was what was funny about it was that black people would laugh at it because they're like, how does he know that about us? And then they felt closer to me because they're like, oh, he's not just like some white guy that doesn't know anything about black people or making a racist joke. But then white people are like, well, that's offensive. And I'm like, is it offensive or is it because you are so far removed from actually understanding or being connected to the black world that you don't know anything about them? You're actually, so I've said this to people, I'm like, you're actually more racist because you have no connection other than just posting Black Lives Matter on your Facebook page, but you have no identification. You have no clue what their community has gone through or like or anything like about their world. That makes you worse than what I'm saying. So
One of the big podcasts out there is Radio Lab, if you listen to it, and they had a survey once of people to pick out the funniest joke in the world, and people responded from all over the globe, and the results were very, very funny. They finally came out to one final joke, which was great. But which brings me to, I would never forgive myself, Anthony, if I didn't get the opportunity at this particular point in the juncture of our relationship. Tell us a joke.
I mean, I could tell you the one that got me in hot water
That's good. That's good.
recently.
Wait. Let's spill over to us.
No, no, no. We are disclaimer. It's his joke, not ours. We have
It's
no.
not even it's not even a
Don't
joke.
cancel us.
It's just a story. So I wrote it as a joke on Threads, which is like the alternate
This isn't the
Twitter.
bear and the hunter in the woods, is it?
No,
Okay.
more original. Um, and so many women got upset, and then men got upset, and were like, "You,
Cascading.
you need, like, there's like that whole like population. This is like where I will be Bill Burrish, where it's like there's like that population of men that like their main job, it seems, is to go online and correct other men and tell them how they need to be better and
Sure.
Mm.
be better feminists and all this stuff. But it's like they're probably terrible behind
Don't
closed
say
doors.
it.
Yeah. So that it was like that group. And so the joke, it was a trans joke. And I was like, this is a very, very tricky area to try to make a joke, but it's not really a joke. So I was like, I think I'm safe. And as soon as the transgender community saw the joke, they all came in and they were like, what is wrong with you people? This is like a pro trans joke. This is funny. This is how you write a joke. And then everybody got quiet. and I felt like I was like lifted up, like I did
All right, let's
it.
hear it.
Um, so obviously, like I've talked about like dating and stuff like that on, over the, like apps, and the first question, it's inevitably women just want to know how tall you are. It's always like, how tall are you? And this is one of my jokes for my special. It's like, one girl actually wrote me a message. She's like, "Are you a nugget? You look little."
Are you a nuggets?
Yeah, I was like, what is a nugget? Like a chicken nugget? Like I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
tasty, and I'm tasty.
Oh my
Yeah, if I called her a Big Mac, I would have got canceled, right? So, so
God.
I had matched with this, it's trans woman on a dating app, and the first question she asked me was how tall I was, and I
You know
wrote,
that she was trans at the time or no?
I think so. I don't remember. Like sometimes you're just swiping,
Yeah.
um, and the first question she asked me was how tall I was, and I was like, that's all the proof that I need to know that trans women are real women.
I actually
Thank you.
sorry.
I like it. I like it.
Thanks. And if you're offended, just remember I got called a nugget. Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
I don't know if you'll get this reference, but like if I ever told like I have a good set like a black show, they always say you're invited to the barbecue. Have you guys ever heard that expression?
No,
Mm-mm.
So it's an expression like in the black community, like like
you're in.
You made
you're
it.
good. You're a good one. You're invited. So like last night I told that story, and it was in front of a whole trans audience, and I was like I feel like I was just invited to the trans barbecue.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then and then afterwards the host was like, I'll see you at the barbecue.
But that's the thing. I think, comedy is like, I had a conversation with somebody recently who were talking about a TV show and it was making a certain demographic, like just more what they are, right? Like exaggerating it, right? And that's what television does. That's what art does. Like you exaggerate the characteristics of different demographics, whether that be religious or that be ethnicity or sexual orientation. That's what TV does. It exaggerates it. And that's what comedy has been for so many years is that it's just exaggerating the things that are out there, not by being racist, not by being anti-Semitic, not by being, I mean, sometimes, like you said before, people get ugly and they get abrasive and they make jokes that are not jokes and they're trying to be like something that you're not. But when you write comedy in a really well skilled way and you're talented like that, then the people that you're actually focusing on, they laugh, right? And I think that's where it's a very fine line though. It's a very, very fine line that don't do something just to piss somebody off or just be nasty and mean, but be part of the community, be part, be understanding of what you're talking about and not to be offensive, but to be funny. And I think that's
Yeah,
why
but it should be an open forum because the people that are objectionable will be fashion. No one will listen to them.
yeah,
Let,
yeah,
let, let the marketplace decide who's good, who's bad, who's
yeah.
indifferent. You can't just let it all out there.
No, I get
I
it.
think it's coming back to some degree. You don't have to be, as sensitive walking on eggshells they have to been for maybe for the past couple of years.
Hmm.
That's why I think like when you said like, is it like hard given the climate today? Like I think that's one of the perks that you have to really dig deep to write an original joke that's not going to upset. And I think that that's the problem is you've got like one population of people that just wants to like say the trope or the racist thing to get like that side of people like rallied up. And
Yeah.
then you have the other group who's afraid to talk about anything that's even remotely controversial because they don't want to get canceled. But historically, that's what comedy is you're supposed to push the envelope. So somebody said a really good review about my comedy, like you tout the line and you push the envelope, but you never cross it. So it's like you're implying or you go right to the line and then you pedal back. And sometimes misdirections can be funny in that. And I think that that's the challenge of of today is how do you do that? How do you not go to the sort of like the stereotypical just like trope
Yeah.
and but also not be cowardly and never address it. Like that took a lot last night to in a room full of transgender women to
Well,
Yeah.
tell that joke, and I was like, well, I got to try it here because if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Um,
Are you
and
doing
that's
any formal training? Have you done any kind of formal training on joke writing or comedy or anything like that? Or have you
his
still
life,
not?
his life.
Outside of your growing up in an Italian family with so many children that
no,
working with teens that are going to kill you. Anything else that gave you material?
I just took a ton of improv. So like I did levels A through E at Second City, and then I did the conservatory, and then did the music program, and then you just do an acting classes. I take voice lessons. Like you just do so much training that after a while you're like, I just have to like start putting this stuff into
That
play.
itself is training. Like some people, someone had asked me, what do you think has been the greatest foundation of your speaking career and your training career? And I said, improv comedy. I said, every single person should have to go through some sort of improv class.
Yeah.
It will change the way you think. It will change. And I do think that some people have um, their own superpower. Obviously, comedy is yours. It started at a very young age. And so you've honed into that. But I do believe that some people are better at improv than others. But regardless of that, I think it should be a required class in high school, or a required class in middle school and elementary school, because it helps you critically think. And that is the thing that people have lost.
Oh, no question.
So yeah.
Well,
When
that's what I was going to say to your point about comedy is that so you got that leftist group who's over here that's like, let me say the left, let me say like the trope, let me say the racist thing. Then you have the other group that's like, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get canceled. And then you have people like me that are in the middle that are like trying, right? But because you have these people over here on the left that are like, so like, let me just say the trope to get my numbers up on social media and get like, whatever, that people forget that that comedy is not literal. And I
Yeah.
think that people are taking comedy literal right now. Like they can't see a joke for what it is. Every time I post something that's remotely controversial online, immediately someone breaks down for me like a
it's
historical.
the joke sometimes.
Behind the
Just
computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you took the same amount of energy and you put it into lobbying a bill that actually
Yeah.
affects our lives? Like
Yeah.
go do something else with your time or go to an open mic.
you ever
Like
have
that
an experience when you're on stage and you're really hooked into the creative and you're flowing and you're super aware and you know really you know the audience, you know the feel, you know the flavor, and you can just go for a long time. You just when you're just hooked in.
Right. Yeah. 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 Those are like the highlights, when you can feel that high. That's why I always was joking the other day. I was like, if somebody ever complains about a joke, like there should be a joke court where I've already run the jury. Like, well, the jury of 14 trans women actually already approved this joke, and I've got the papers right here. So,
Ex
sorry. Sorry.
actually, it's a hung jury.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Now we just got canceled. That's great. Ignore and strike
That's
that from the record,
that's
please.
been by the NFL. It's been approved by the NFL. I've got the papers.
And I'll end with this. I think a lot of I think maybe you can tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but I think a lot of comedians were always kind of thinking, I'm not saying I'm a comedian, but I'm
You
comedic, I
just did.
guess. But you're kind of thinking so fast in your head, it's not coming out as fast through your mouth sometimes. Like your ideas are up here and then you're trying to formulate it. And I remember there was a time where I was doing this training for an organization and we were having back-to-back sessions. Like every 30 minutes, a new group came in for the same content and we're going and we're going. And finally, by the afternoon, I said to everyone, I'm like, all right, I meant to say to them, how many of you guys have, heard about this training on Twitter? What about on MySpace? What about on Facebook? Because I was joking around because the training is so good. How many of you guys heard about this training on Twitter already? And I went to say MySpace, but I go, and how many of you guys have been on my face? And at that moment, I realized I should stay far, far, far from unwritten comedy because the stuff that comes out of my mouth sometimes is not approved for any audience.
How
So
many? How many?
nobody.
How many raised their hand?
I know. I was gonna say everybody. Good thing 20 hands didn't go up.
I'm free at 2:30.
Yes.
Exactly.
Anyway, I have such respect for who you are. Know that even if we don't talk all the time, I'm seeing your stuff. I try to like it. My condolences go out to you for the loss of your mom and your dad
Tough
and
year.
things and just what you've been through and know that we are here. I think you're incredible and I look forward to seeing you on a special on Comedy Central one day or whatever that
I'm
is.
going to YouTube today.
There you go. Yeah, listeners.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram,
Yeah.
comedian trainer on Instagram. Check out the special. It's on YouTube, North Side, South Side. And it's so sad that like it's come to the point where it's like a numbers game. I always tell people after every show too. I said, please follow us, all the comics, because we are literally competing against the Hawk Tuah girl. And
Yeah, why not? Based upon your personal training background, you could always do your gig with your shirt off.
yeah, that's one option. That might not. I don't know if that'll help or hurt me. My gay friend did say, he's like, you gotta start wearing tight shirts on stage. You have really nice arms. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll start doing that.
Hey, just whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. Well, we
Maybe
hope
wear
to get
a crop
you
top
some
next time.
more. What's that?
see me wearing a crop top next set.
There you go. Hey, we hope to get you some more followers, some more people to see your comedy because you do things that are really kind of close to the edge, but super funny and super fun. And we're grateful that you took time out of your time to share some time with us. So thanks for giving us a laugh and a chuckle. And if you're in Chicago and look up Anthony, he could be performing. Is Zany still there on Wells? Is it still there on Wells?
Amy's on Wells. I go there. I go to the Laugh Factory, the Comedy Bar, the Improv in Schaumburg. There's a lot of different shows around the city too that comics produce that sometimes I'll be on.
You have a website where people can go to see your shows?
Yeah, I post everything on Instagram on Comedian Trainer, but just my name, anthonybonazzo.com. I try to keep my calendar pretty updated on there as well.
I love it. I'm going to follow you. I don't know if I'm following you right now, but I'm going to right now. Comedian Trainer.
Yeah, one word. I want to start doing more fitness stuff in there too, because now people are like, "Do you train comedians?"
Oh,
Because I've like not kept up with like as many fitness posts. So I think that's confusing people. So I'm trying to make sure that I start incorporating that. You know what I mean?
Not following
Well,
you.
thanks for being a comedy ambassador. We need a lot more laughing today, of course,
Yes.
than the
Yeah.
past.
We appreciate you. Thanks. Good to see you, Anthony.
Take care. Thank you,
Hey,
guys.
if you're down here in Florida performing, let us know.
Yeah, what part of Florida are you in?
We're in Sarasota, and Paul Farvar performs at what's it called, McCurdy's Comedy Club down here. So come on down to McCurdy's. I've never had a chance to go see him,
Okay.
but one time I will. But yeah, come on down.
All right.
Front row seat. We laugh a lot.
We do. We laugh, and we've got a similar laugh, so it could be annoying, but we'll be there.
They're not plants. They're people I know.
Yeah, yeah.
We can bring plants if you like.
We've all sat on her face.
Way to go on. Adios, brothers.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Oh my gosh. The fact that this is even a podcast with my dad. It's so cool, isn't he? He's just like such a
listen, I see humor every moment around us. It's funny as hell. People it's perspective. They get too wrapped up, they get tight, they don't see it, but it's all funny. You have to keep that perspective.
Well, and I really do, listen, stand up is very difficult. I listened to my shtick last night and it's funny. I mean, maybe, but it was like stuff about my life. By the way, the video is not available anywhere, so don't write me and ask me for it. It's only on my phone and you cannot have it. But my point here is that like when people are laughing, it's just such a great endorphin. We all know that. That's science. And just to have fun and not to get too, abrasive or anything, but he's great and we'll watch his thing together.
Do you want to hear what they judged to be the funniest joke in the world after multiple thousands of submissions?
I do.
I'm probably going to screw it up. I'm not a professional.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Two buddies were hunting in the wilderness, having a great old time. And in between shooting a couple of ducks, one guy has like a tremendous heart attack, falls down, and like he's dead. His buddy, wake up! What do you do? I can't. What's going on? How I? He's shaking. Can't get a rise on him. Gets on his phone. He calls 911 services. Finally catches a cell tower. He says, 911 services, can we help you? Yeah, we're out in the wilderness. I'm with my buddy. He just had this major heart attack. What can I do? What can I do to revive him? They said, well, calm down. First of all, we'll walk you through this. First of all, make sure he's dead. There's a long silence and then a gunshot. That's hilarious. It's I was going to tell him that. I didn't want to take his thunder. That's funny as hell.
That is funny.
Clean, funny, and you got to think about it.
Oh,
Isn't that great? Didn't expect it.
Any insights into my childhood, anyone right now? All right, listener, we had a great time with Anthony today, and hopefully you did as well too. Go follow him on Instagram, Comedian Trainer. Go watch his special, connect with him. And until next time,
to make you laugh. It's easy. There's no cover charge. No 2-drink minimum. Call it in.
I need a 2-drink minimum right now. All right. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.jamiemarco.com. And we will see you next time.